welcome back to Hank's Yarncast. My name is Casey. I'm the owner and operator of Hank's Yarn Parlour in Belfast, Northern Ireland. You're so welcome. If you're new here, this is just my little podcast where I give some updates on the shop and also what I've been knitting or crocheting. I suppose I'll start with shop news. First things first, there's a couple of classes coming up in the new year. So the very first one, our Knitting for Beginners class is running from the 8th January to the 15th. It's a two-part class. Now, you probably already have your handle on knitting if you're here in the first place, but if you have a friend or family member that's maybe been looking to get into it and you're local, definitely would recommend coming to that. We've also got a sock knitting class starting on the 23rd of January. That one runs over a couple weeks as well. 23rd until the 6th of February. And we're also doing a couple of new classes coming up in February. So don't have the dates totally firmed up for these, but please do keep an eye out on our social media or our website for them. The first one I'm looking at doing is a ladderback jacquard class. So that would, it's a different kind of method for stranded knitting, particularly if you're dealing with any kind of charts that would have really long floats in them or kind of blocks of where you're kind of knitting several stitches in one color before you're changing to your contrast color again. Let's see, there's also going to be a little bit of a kind of learning how to fix mistakes class. So that might be, sorry, that's for knitting, not for crochet. I should qualify that. So that'll be just kind of looking at how to pick up things like dropped stitches, how to unknit your stitches one row at a time, how to kind of pick up stitches several rows down and then rip out, or how to put a lifeline in and rip back to that sort of thing. And the last one that I've had on mind is looking at a class where we do kind of talk about a bunch of different methods for casting on and binding off, and how we can kind of make those match so that your cast on and your bind off edges look the same. So those are a few of the classes that are coming up. As always, if you have any suggestions for classes, I would love to hear them. You can even pop a comment down below, or you could email the shop. That's info@hanksyarnparlour.com. Or you could drop us a message on Instagram or Facebook. Just if there's something you've been thinking about learning, please do get in touch, knit or crochet wise, and I will do my very best to make it happen. All right, what else is going on in the shop? Speaking of socks, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited about this. My next pattern release has just come out today. So these are the buffalo socks. They're the same kind of motif as the buffalo toque pattern, just in sock form. So these are, let me just tell you a little bit about the construction. They are cuffed down, obviously they're color work, and they have a German short row heel. I'm a big fan of this heel. I find that it fits really well without kind of being baggy. So I don't know, some socks, particularly Afterthought heels. So I love an Afterthought heel if I'm kind of taking a sock with me. Sock always lives in my handbag. My sock is my like travel knitting go-to kind of thing. So even during my commute, there's almost always some form of sock whip in my bag. And I find knitting Afterthought heels really adapts to that well, because then you can just knit a sock tube and come back and put the heel in later, so you don't have to really think about it while you're on the go. But they sometimes don't fit as well as they could, mostly because an Afterthought heel basically replicates a toe and puts it on the back of the sock. And the trouble with doing that is that most people's heels are narrower than your toes. So I do find that they can get a little bit baggy at the back, and they can get kind of saggy, and then next thing you know, they're falling down your leg because they're rubbing on your shoes. They're just pulling them down. So I am a big fan of a short row heel. I find that they fit nicely, they look neat, and I do like the way that they kind of fit into so that you kind of get this classic little shape with them. So if you're doing contrast heels, toes, and cuffs, they work really nicely for that. A little bit nicer, I think, than something like a traditional heel flap and gusset isn't going to take up quite as much space as this. Actually, I'm going to show you a heel flap sock that I'm working on a little bit later, and we can maybe compare the two. So that pattern, buffalo socks, that is available on Hank's website. It's also available on our Ravelry shop. I'll link to both of those below. Also in the shop, there are kits available for these. So I've got a couple different colorways. So this is the red and black colorway. Very traditional buffalo plaid. I think this is kind of the OG buffalo plaid, if you will. So I'll show you what the kit comes with. Bear with me while I push towards the camera. Okay, so the kit comes with a copy of the pattern. And it comes with 5 little skeins of Edelweiss alpaca. I absolutely adore this sock yarn. It just might be my favorite. It is ridiculously soft, but it's still super wash, which I really appreciate. You can put these in the washing machine because I can't be bothered hand washing socks. Just going to stop here for a moment. I'm about to go into a bit of a tangent about laundering socks, but before I do that, and through the magic of editing, I just wanted to make sure that I show you guys all of these kit colors. So black and red is our kind of classic colorway. This red also looks like a lot brighter on here than it actually is. It's more of a burgundy. It's a bit deeper. It's not quite so like Santa Christmassy red, but there is also then a blue kit. I apologize. These are a little bit deeper colors. So this is kind of like a really nice lapis blue. I really, really like this one. It's been pretty popular as well. It looks like 10 times brighter on this screen than it actually is. Check out our website. You'll get some hopefully better colored photos of what that looks like. And the last one that I got just now is a pink and purple combination, which I think would be absolutely dolly. I think I might have to cast on a pair like this for myself. So those are the colors available for the buffalo socks kit. Washing socks. I just like to put them to be. I'm gonna tell you guys a little naughty secret. I still put my non-superwash socks in the washing machine. Yeah, I just put them in one of those mesh laundry bags and make sure that they're going in on a delicate cycle. And so far, touch wood, so far I haven't had any major mishaps. I haven't had any felted socks or anything. Take that with a pinch of salt. I'm not suggesting that everyone should start machine washing their socks, but you know, maybe watch and try it out. See how your yarn reacts. Some non-superwash yarns you can get away with putting them in a delicate cycle. Just the big thing is to reduce the agitation in the machine. It's not so much about the hot temperature, it's about the combination of that temperature and a lot of agitation. So if they're rubbing on other clothes that you have in the wash or the drum itself, they're more likely to felt. So if you put them in a mesh laundry bag, they get knocked around against the rest of that stuff less. They've got a bit of a buffer. So, but as I say, you might want to experiment with your own yarns before you just start chucking everything in the machine. But anyway, so the kit has 5 balls of the Edelweiss alpaca. So there are 2 balls of each color, which in this case would be the red and the black. And then there's a single ball of the beige to do the heels, toes, and cuffs. Now there's enough in the kit to do the largest size sock, which is fairly large. I knit my partner, so there's a small, medium, large, and an extra large size. Small and medium kind of being more geared toward ladies' sizes, where the large and extra large sizes are probably more suitable for men. But obviously everybody's different. So, the two larger sizes kind of take that into account, that you will probably have not only wider feet, but longer feet. So in any case, the yardage used for the two larger sizes is significantly more than it is for the two smaller sizes. So there's definitely enough yarn in the kit to make the largest size. Now, the benefit, if you have small feet, then you should easily get 2 pairs of socks out of the one kit. So you could knit a pair for yourself and maybe a pair for a friend. Or maybe knit yourself 2 pairs, because why not? So those are available in the shop now. I'm just throwing a ball of yarn. So the kit with the pattern, 5 balls of the Edelweiss alpaca, they're £20. So if you're looking for a last minute gift, that might be a thought as well. Speaking of which, I've got another kit that I want to share with you. That is for Even Rose Shawl by Lettuce Knits, which is Justina Lorkowska. This beauty, I had the privilege of test knitting back in April. And it is, you can probably see it's a bit sheer. So this is alternating just kind of two kind of different patterns. So it alternates these garter panels with these little lace panels, and they also have these really fun little baubles on them. So the garter panels are knit in a mohair, and the lace section here is 4-ply. And I have kits of these in Isager's silk mohair and Highland wool, which is what this beauty is made of. I can't get over the drape of this. So it's a crescent-shaped shawl, even. It's massive. It's very, very long, and very, very suitable dust-wise for wrapping up in. It's super lightweight, but it's still very cozy. And I have to say, this mohair, I was a little bit apprehensive about. I'm normally quite sensitive to mohair. I find it a little bit prickly with all the fibers sticking out everywhere. Some people find that with alpaca. Just kind of your body reacts to it, I suppose. So I was a little bit apprehensive about working with this mohair, but I have to say, this is superb. I don't find it irritating at all. I can wear this around my neck quite happily. I do think when it comes to things like mohair and alpaca and llama and anything that has those sorts of halos and fuzz, I think that if you find them a little bit prickly to start with as well, it's really worth giving them a wet block. Now, I know blocking isn't everybody's cup of tea. A lot of people skip it, especially for, things like accessories. But I think with this fiber, it's really worth doing, because any of the fibers that might be a little bit loose will come away in that first washing, and they'll massively soften down the whole thing. So might want to consider that. Anyway, back to this beauty. So I have kits in the shop for this as well. So the kit includes the pattern by Justina Lorkowska, and also two skeins each of Isager's silk mohair and Isager's Highland wool. And I've got 4 colorways available at the moment. So let me just grab these here for you. Here they are. So this is the same pink one that I did. It's like a really dusty rose kind of color. Really love this one. It's actually really elegant, I think. This gold is like the most, iridescent mohair I've ever seen in my life. I absolutely adore this one as well. Really, really lovely. Then there is sort of this tealy color. It's also been quite popular. And there's also a really lovely deep blue. So they were all paired together with a matching Highland wool. So you can do your two sections. And I think that the kit would make a really lovely gift if you know a knitter that you're stumped on what to get them for the holiday season coming up. You can pick up one of these kits, and they even come in a really lovely gift box. They're £33, and they're very available right now. So have a think about that. I think that is all the shop news that I had to share with you guys. Just trying to think to myself now if there was anything else. There might be. If I remember it before the end, I'll be sure to update you then. But why don't we jump into what I've been knitting? Not an awful lot. Still been really busy. Not an awful lot on the needles at the moment, you guys. But why don't we start with what I'm wearing? So this is obviously it's festive jumper season. It is Christmas jumper season. So I am in the shop today in my favorite Christmas jumper. This is a Ralma pattern. Norwegian, not my strong suit. The pattern number is 277-4. It's just called the Julegenser Dame, which, again, my Norwegian's not great, but I'm pretty sure that just translates to women's Christmas sweater. So I knit this one a few years ago. I think this is back in 2020 I made this one. I knit it, it's a DK weight pattern. I knit it in West Yorkshire Spinners Alpaca. Illustrious, I think, is the name of that range. Or was, if they're still doing it. I'm afraid I don't carry West Yorkshire Spinners in the shop anymore, so I'm blanking on that name a little bit. So that's what the white and also what the kind of like grey accent is. The red is West Yorkshire Spinners Wensleydale Gems. I believe that was the garnet colorway. I believe the Gems is discontinued now, but it's really lovely pattern. I would say like kind of any DK weight will work. I would recommend if you're looking to knit something like this, if you're looking to knit your own Christmas jumper, what I have in the shop that I would recommend is the Camarose, and here I go butchering Scandi pronunciations again, but this is a Camarose Ecologisk Verdexold. Now, I know that this translates to everyday organic wool. Thank goodness for that. It's a really hard one to pronounce, and I'm sure I have not done it justice there. But the beauty of this, and this is one of my favorite DK yarns, it's super affordable, and it is really lovely to work with and absolutely perfect for color work. It's wool and spun, so you're getting about 150 meters per 50 grams on these guys. They go quite far. They're £3.50 a ball. You could knit yourself a Christmas jumper for about 35, maybe £40. Now, the only caveat with this pattern, the only thing that I kind of don't love about it, it's not that size inclusive. It only goes up to, I believe, a 48-inch chest circumference. I'd like to see that a bit bigger. I'm sure loads of you would. But I do have a couple of ideas to kind of work around that. I know we shouldn't have to work around, but the situation is what it is. So let's talk a little bit about the construction of this, okay? So it's a raglan, which I really love because a lot of kind of color work, particularly color work yoke patterns, they're usually a circular yoke construction, and I love a circular yoke as much as the next person, but I do have to admit that I find raglan shaping just a little bit more flattering on my body. I have modified this one a little bit again because I've put some short rows at the back of it. showing that. So I've got like an extra little bit of chart here, just to raise up the neck a little bit so that it sits more forward, which I also just think is more flattering for my body, just the shape that I am. So what I'm going to say is, if you need a bigger chest size and you want to try to knit this, you might consider getting the pattern for this for the charts. And the chart for the whole body, because there's no body shaping here at all, it's just straight down, very, very simple. The chart is 8 stitches wide, which is brilliant, because that means at this gauge too, because I believe the gauge is 22 stitches per 4 inches, if I remember correctly. It just means that 8 stitches is just not quite an inch wide, which makes it really easy to kind of plug those numbers into another raglan pattern that might have the size that you need. One that kind of comes to mind off the top of my head, Isolde Teague has a pattern called Blank Canvas, and it's a raglan. It's not a perfect raglan, because it does have like slightly different shaping at the top of the shoulder, just to kind of make that fit a little better. I have knit that one as well. Lovely pattern, absolutely adore it. It has some shaping in the bodice with some darts, but you could certainly eliminate that. Anyway, what I'm getting at is that the chart would be very easy to adapt and fit into another jumper pattern. So that might be an option for you if you're looking to knit it in a bigger size. Now, if you'd rather not faff around trying to figure all of that out, which I totally understand, might consider an alternative, and that is this boy right here. This is, oh, that's the back. This is another jumper. So I knit this one 2 years ago. Really similar idea, with all kind of the bands of color. This is the Festive Yoke Pullover. I think that's the right name. It's by Skein Deer Knits. You guys know I love a good Skein Deer Knits pattern. I've knit so many of them. I absolutely adore her patterns. This one was particularly fun because she gives you, now this is a circular yoke. So I love this sweater as much, but I just find that this one fits a little bit better. It's a little bit more flattering on me. But this one was extra fun to knit because she does this a little bit like a doodle pattern, where she gives you, I think it's 24 charts to choose from. Might be more than that. Can't recall exactly, but anyway, there's a heap of charts. And you can kind of do this as like a choose your own adventure. So she gives you all of the stitch counts for the shaping, obviously, for your size. And again, each one of those charts then, I think these are also 8 stitches wide. So they're very easily adapted into the pattern. So you don't, because the charts are all the same width. So snowflakes are the same width as the reindeer, or the same width as the trees. And you're kind of doing all of your increase rounds in the spaces between. So these kind of little rows where you only got the one color is where all your increases are coming in, which is how they kind of then end up, the charts sort of like nest into each other. But this is a lot of fun, because then you got to kind of pick which charts you wanted to use and put them wherever you want in the motif. So just got the whole way up to a few ends that I still haven't woven in 2 years later. Yeah, we're just going to stick those back up to cuffs. Not going to worry about them. This one also has some short row shaping at the back. I think that she does include that in the pattern. Gotta have a bit of short rows up there, otherwise they don't sit right on me. They're forever creeping up in the back if I don't have the short rows there to make the front of the garment sit where it should. So this one, now the slight difference between this one and the Roma pattern. The Roma pattern is a DK weight. This is a 4-ply pattern, so it's a little bit more lighter weight, which might not be so bad if you're sitting around waiting for your Christmas dinner and absolutely roasting in oven heat in the house. That always seems to happen. I always put on a Christmas jumper to go to my aunt's for Christmas, and then it's way too warm in the house for the jumper. So this is a little bit lighter. I've knit this one in Jameson and Smith's 2-ply jumper weight. I can't speak today, you guys. This is kind of their stone colorway. There's like a deep green, brown, and this rusty orange, which I absolutely love. So when I knit this one, I kind of wanted something that was a little bit more autumny vibes that I could get away with wearing a little bit earlier in the year. It didn't scream Christmas. It just says, I mean, it's literally covered in reindeer and trees, but it's okay. It's okay because it's in muted colors. I would actually really like to do this one again in like really bright, kitschy colors all over again. I think I would like to do this in like practically neons. I think could be really fun. So there's a couple of ideas for kind of traditional Christmas jumpers. I should say also to the Skein pattern, she does have this, she's a couple kind of different renditions of it. So there's kind of, you can do full-on color work, pullover. You could just do the yoke and do the color work plain. She's got some examples of that on her Ravelry page. There's also a cardigan version, which I believe is steeked. So yeah, a few different options with that. Okay, so next thing I have finished object at long last, you guys. The Knitter's Dude is finished. Well, it's as good as finished. I haven't sewn the buttons on yet, but the rest is done. I'm absolutely chuffed to bits with it. I'll just hold it out. It's quite large, so but it's just finished blocking, which is smoothed out the color work. Of course, everything is nice and neat. No puckering. I still can't get over the stretch on this with that ladder back jacquard that's in there. You can see all my ladders there, especially in the sleeves. This is making this so much stretchier than a standard stranded knit. So like I had mentioned earlier about doing that class, that this is kind of one of those charts where you've got big stretches of color. Like here you've got like 11 stitches before you're changing color again. Up here there's like a full repeat. This bit of the chart's kind of cut off by the button band, but a full repeat. Up here, this width is like 22 stitches. You don't want to just be catching floats there. The ladder back is so much nicer. It's a little bit more work, but not a lot. Like no more work, I think, than kind of making the effort to twist your yarns to get your floats caught and that sort of thing. So actually, I think I will be employing that method quite a bit more now that we've given it a try and can see its benefits. I've done the pockets as well. So I did an Afterthought pocket on these. The pattern doesn't call for them, but I had said in previous episodes, the one thing that drives me nuts about the one that I had made for myself, it doesn't have pockets, and I'm always looking for them. So I put them on this one for my cousin. I also did something a little bit fun, and I lined them with a bit of quilting cotton. So that is giving my pocket more structure. They're not kind of really stretching out. And now if you put something like keys in your pocket, they're not going to poke through the front of them. So we're really happy with how those kind of came out. And they're reasonably discreet. I like an Afterthought pocket more than a patch pocket, just because I find that they're a bit neater and they're a bit more discreet looking. If you're interested in how I did this, so it does require a little bit of surgery, but if you're interested in how I've done the pockets, I've done a little tutorial, which you can also find on the YouTube channel here. You can have a look at kind of how those are completed. And it's really not that difficult, and I think that they give such a lovely finish. You can barely even see the seam on the sides there, so yeah, really chuffed with this, you guys. I'm recording this on Thursday evening. The podcast goes out on Saturday morning. I'm really hoping that I'm going to get a chance to actually get this onto my cousin before then, so that I can get a photo and show you guys how well it fits. Maybe, fingers crossed, he'll call by the shop tomorrow to pick it up and let me take a photo of him in it. But I'm thrilled with how it turned out. I'm also thrilled, if I'm being totally honest, that it's done. Was going to be a bit of a slog by the end. I just found this, I don't know if I just, part of it was me not being in the right headspace, and part of it was the annoyance at having to keep switching pages on the pattern. Like, just give me the instructions for the section that I'm doing all on one page, please. Or at least on subsequent pages. Don't make me keep having to skip ahead five pages ahead and then come 5 pages back because I have to do 2 things at the same time. Like, not the biggest fan. Big fan of the end result. Not the biggest fan of how that pattern was written. But yeah, have to admit, it does turn out a pretty cool cardigan. So chuffed to bits that is now kind of off my plate. I will get the buttons sewn on that this evening, and it'll be ready for him to pick up. Right. What have I got whip-wise? Also very little. So, my other cousin, I'm afraid, has been poorly for a while now. So I thought that I would knit her a pair of house socks, slipper socks, bed socks, whatever you want, sort of socks that you're not going to get shoes onto. Where is it? So I kind of had some leftovers in this orange. This is Rosario's 4, and also in the Lamold. This is Camarose's Lamold. This is leftover from hats and sweaters that I had kind of on the go, and I kind of had enough to do wee pair of socks, so I thought that would be really lovely for her. I do know what came over me because I don't normally do this, but I decided I was going to give a heel flap and gusset a go for these socks. So these are Aran weight, by the way. I should have said that. So the Rosario's 4 bio wool and the Camerose Lamold. Scandi words me today, can't manage them. They're both Aran weight. So actually the little white on the fox's faces is also the Rosario's. So anyhow, I don't know what came over me, and I decided that I was going to do a heel flap and gusset for these socks. Probably thought to myself at the time that these tend to fit most people really well. Again, in terms of your heel usually being much narrower than your toe. Just makes sense. And these ones tend to kind of have the best fit for most people. And I've heard, I'm not sure how well I agree with this. So I've heard that these are particularly good for people with high insteps. I do have a high instep, and I really feel like the German short row heel works pretty well for me. I don't know that I would say that this is better, but it's not any worse. So just, if I grab the buffalo sock again over here, so we can have a look at what I meant earlier when I was babbling on about how much kind of heel coverage you get and how much this color is going to really kind of show off there. So that's the German short row heel, and that is a heel flap and gusset done in a contrasting color. So it's not actually the gusset, it's the heel flap and the turn at the bottom are done in that one color. When you start working the gusset, you're actually working kind of your main color again. So that is why the heel on this looks so dinky compared to the German shirt row heel. It actually fully takes up about the same amount of space because the gusset, and I'm sorry, this is really dark yarn, so you mightn't see the shaping on that, but the gusset comes down just here. So the shaping for the heel actually ends about here, but you can't use your contrasting yarn for the gusset, or at least I haven't figured out a way to do that yet. So the heels in these do look a little bit different. I'm not necessarily upset about them not taking up much more space. I do think in the end, no matter